We're back for episode 2 of this Unreal Engine escape room demo. Last time we just learned how to open up Unreal, how to navigate through it, and how to look at the different objects in the game and how to test the game, but then also at the objects in the game, how to see what the details are of them. Today, we're going to start putting together this layout, I guess, of a level. If you followed the tutorial last time, when you open up Unreal Engine, you'll notice here it says Escape Room Demo in recent projects. You could go and click more and browse and try to find it and all that, but if you're following along, then you should be able to open up that previous project. And I'll click Open Project, and it'll get all this loaded up, which is essentially our basic level. Okay, we have these different editor cubes in here. Alright, and because this is just a template we saved, we can do whatever we want with this, but I'm going to select each of these cubes, and I'm just going to give myself a little bit of room in here to work with. So I'm clicking on the blocks. I'm going to click on that and press delete to give myself some room. Now these big walls here, when we look at that, you'll see it looks weird, and I'll show you something about that here in a little bit, but I am going to get rid of those big walls for right now. And we have those gone. We have this first person template text down here. I will select that and press delete there and get that out of the way. These other items that we have here, when I select on the first person character, actually, you know what, we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's okay. To get rid of these objects in here, I'm going to go to Save Current, and then up here for Build, if you select Build Lighting Only, and I get this on here, and if you close out or allow access, and then down here in the bottom right hand corner it says building lighting on here, and it's almost done. It takes just a moment. Okay, and then once that gets done, that will update your lighting, since those big walls are no longer found there anymore. Alright, and now we have just a big room, floor and 4 walls here. Alright, I want to start off here for this level by building a platform that we're going to walk up to. So to do that here, I will, on the left hand side where it says place actors, I'm going to grab this cube and just bring it onto this level. And when I do that, it's kind of sticking down through the floor. And in order to move that, when you have an object selected, in this case I'm clicking on the cube, and we have these different tools up here I didn't really talk about last tutorial because we didn't need to know about them. And we can do multiple things to this, but to start off with, when you have the item selected, by default we are in translate mode. Alright, so translate mode, and if I kind of pan through here, when we have translate mode selected, there's these arrows. When you click on the specific arrow, you can move the object on that plane. Alright, and as I do that, you'll notice here down in the details on the right hand side where it says transform and location, those numbers are changing. So right now I'm changing the Y. Alright, And then with the red arrow here, I'm changing the X. With the Z, I'm changing up and down there with that blue arrow. And the arrows obviously are corresponding with this on here. When I brought in this cube, by default, even though it looks like the small cubes we were moving around earlier in last tutorial with the bullets, it's by default static on there. And also when I look down here, it's not simulating physics. Alright, so this would just be just a plain cube. So if I save this and I test this out and I fire this, I can't do anything to it. I can't move it, and when I run into it, the bullets are not moving. I can stand on it. Alright, all those things on there I can do. Alright, escaping back out, we can see how that works there. Okay, so translating the object lets us move it around, or transforming the object, sorry, allows us to move it around. The second thing we have on here is rotate object. It's the second one on here with the circle with the arrow around there. Works the same way. It's the same basic principle. Alright, and we have, instead of these arrows, we have these kind of half circles that are on here. And if I take this and click around, you can change that. And over here in transform, you could see where rotation is telling us at what angles that we're moving that around. And it also gives you that little guide on there. So that's kind of good to know. You can rotate the object in any direction. Because this is just a regular static object without physics, it'll stay in the position that we tell it to. If it had physics and was movable, it would fall down and then come to rest, kind of like a cube. But you can rotate these objects on there like that. So that's the second tool on there that we want to talk about up here at the top. The last one that we have is our scale object. Alright, so scale, just like this down here, it shows you in the transform panel. There are kind of three ways that you can do this. Well, actually four. So when I have this done, most of the time, if you have created a model that you brought into this engine, you would want to click from the white cube on there, because that's going to keep it scaled and it's not going to distort your model. All right? There are times where we want to build something in this engine, and you have these shapes over here, and it doesn't have a rectangle, but you can build a rectangle out of a cube. Alright, so you kind of want to think creatively, like, how can I build a shape out of other shapes? So scaling it, you click and drag in there, and when I click and drag that, you'll see on the right hand side here, X, Y, and Z are all changing at the same time. Alright, if I go with the green, it branches out that way. If I go with the red, it branches out that way. And then with the blue, you can make it taller. So that's kind of what we have for those tools. So to start off with, like I mentioned before, I want to make some kind of a platform for the front of this object, or for the front of this map here that we're looking at. All right. So moving this here, I'm going to slide it back just a little bit, and I want to scale it. I want to make it quite a bit wider. I want to come out this way a little bit. Also maybe make it a little taller like that. And then when I do that, then I can And have this there. And I can always change the size of this later, obviously, but I want to make some kind of a platform that this character is going to be able to climb up on. Alright, that's the first item that I put on there. If I click on this area down here, you'll notice it says Network Player Start. And these move around just like everything else. I can go up here to Translate Object, and I can slide this back. So I'm actually going to shift click both of those items and move these back out of the way up here, so don't worry about messing those up later. Alright, let's test this out. Look in here, and we have this platform up here. My character can't quite jump up that high. Alright, so I need to make some kind of way for this character to move up onto that platform. So troubleshooting our way through this, I can bring another cube on here. And on this particular cube, I can move it to where I need to move it. I can shrink it down a little and make it not as tall, and then make it longer, maybe a little bit wider also. Alright, here we have, this looks pretty good. Once we have this little walkway made, then let's go ahead and bring this over here. Maybe I'll scale it a little bit wider. Yeah, move it out here. And now, what happens here if I use the angle on this? Alright, and then if I move this around, I can kind of get this balanced as good as I can, and to still have it look good. I'm just kind of, I'm not doing this real scientifically, obviously. And it's okay in this case if it sticks through the floor a little. We can have that. Alright, and then I'm going to click Save. I'm going to test this out. This time we started up backwards a little further because we moved that object down, and when I go in here and try this out, now I can go up here onto this platform. So you can kind of see where we're going with this here a little bit. Now what I want to do is I will, now that I have this platform already made, I can Control C and Control V, and it'll paste it right over the top of the other. Alright, and with that I'm going to kind of move this one over here, and I may scale this one down just a little bit. It is a little bit big than what I need. Alright, so I'll scale that down. That looks like that'll be okay, and I might actually even move it down just a little bit too. So move it about right there, that'd probably be fine. And it's the same width as that. Alright, and then if I take my ramp here, Control C and Control V that, and I don't want to scale it, I actually want to move this around to this negative 90 degrees. Move this here. So you can ultimately, you could build whatever level you want to. You can kind of see how I'm doing this, and kind of get creative. You can follow my directions on here if you want to. It's entirely up to you. But kind of make a level that you want to do. Is I'll kind of go through this one side here, and then you'll be able to kind of see what's going on and just play around with it and see. It's kind of like playing with blocks, right? Okay, so I have that main part finished there. Now I can actually copy that by shift selecting all of those. Alright, move that over to this side. Change the angle around. And then just kind of get this as close as possible. And obviously with this, there's a few kind of things. It's not going to be perfect, but just for what we're trying to accomplish here with this tutorial, it should work. Alright, I'm getting close here. look here. Is this pretty even over there? I just want something that's a little bit symmetrical for this. And I think this looks pretty good for what I'm trying to do for the first part. I'm gonna click save here. If you need to, you know, you can go to your build and change the lighting only if you need, if yours isn't quite working right. It might take just a moment here, but this was building this out of just static objects, just cubes and some cylinders. Alright, click save. When that's done, click play. And then just to kind of make sure everything works here, that the person can indeed run up and down the ramps. And here we go. I think this looks pretty good so far. Take some time, and if you didn't build yours like this, you know, make yours however you want to. But you know, try to do something with maybe a ramp, maybe some stairs. You could play around with that. Something that you can kind of go through, and you know, it's like giving you the opportunity when you were a kid and you always wanted to build a fort, and you're kind of limited to, you know, if you were in the woods or wherever, you know, to however much wood you had, or if you're in your house trying to build a house fort, however many cushions you had to build, or how much furniture to build your fort out of. In here, I mean, all these shapes, you can build whatever you want to. So build something that's interesting to you, and something that you can, you know, climb up to the top of and look around on. And when you have that done, I think you'll be ready for when I post the next tutorial. Again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know your comments, and we'll catch you on the next video.